Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you from Unified Wine and Grape Symposium in downtown Sacramento, here with Jeff Bitter from Allied Grape Growers to talk about the Thompson market and Thompson grapes. There's been a lot of fluctuations over the years and some big changes, and as people have, there's been a lot of fence sitters, I don't know how else to call it, but they're going back and forth between the crush and going into raisins, but that separation is really happening, and we're wondering what the future of the Thompson grower is, and those that are currently on the fence going back and forth. Obviously we got a good price this year for them, but what's the future moving forward?
Well, over the years what we've seen is a severely declining production of Thompson Seedless, and if you go back a decade or 15 years ago, we had an ample supply to supply the concentrate market and the raisin industry, and those two industries would work, in concert, I guess you'd say. Maybe not favorably in concert, but they worked and moved in concert with each other with regard to the supply and demand for raisins and also grape concentrate. And what we see now is that concentrate market is much smaller. Over the years, we've had a lot of difficulty in competing with foreign concentrate, plus the need for white grape juice concentrate has diminished over the years for the products that it's been going into. Mostly attributable to people moving away from what's been characterized as sugary drinks, so fruit juices and things like that, unfortunately. And so we see a situation now where there's not as much tonnage that shifts from industry to industry. And I suspect that as time goes on, there'll be less and less use for Thompson. And the reality is that for crush, the reality is that if a winery or concentrate producer needs to buy Thompsons in the future, they're still going to have to compete with the raisin industry and buy that tonnage out of the raisin industry. And the only way you do that is with price. And so the interest in those processors to buy Thompsons is going to be completely driven by the demand each year for concentrate and the level at which those prices can be supported. And this year it was close. We almost didn't get concentrate up high enough to buy the tons away from the raisin business because the raisin price had escalated so much. So, every year is different, Matthew. It's interesting in this business of Thompsons versus wine grapes. Wine grapes are much more stable. It's a little bit more predictable in terms of what's going to happen each year. But with Thompsons being so closely tied to two volatile commodities, being raisin and concentrate, every year is different. We could have a dynamite year one year and a failure the next, and so every year we just have to evaluate what is inventory, what is sales looks like, and what is our foreign competition doing to us, both in the raisin and concentrate side. So I'll tell you more in April or May. How's that?
Sure. But yeah, so the future obviously is to move into other varieties, either wine grapes or, maybe Selma Peat or going to raisin business.
Yeah, so depending on, if you've been a Thompson grower that's been kind of a fence sitter and you don't know what your future is, I guess in some way you decide, or you want to be part of the raisin industry and invest in Selma Peat potentially to be part of the raisin business, or are you going to be part of the wine industry and invest in a French Colombard vineyard? Because essentially those are your two substitutes on both sides of the fence. So we do see increased plantings of both and a diminished supply of Thompsons over time, and we're just going to continue to see that.
Right, and this year was a pretty exciting year for
It was a good year
growers.
for Thompson growers, yes.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Read more about these things in American Vineyard Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.